Hey everyone, my name is Dan Chimy. People like to call me Chimy, and you can too. I am a bassist, sound designer, and composer living in Los Angeles, and we are back with another installment from the Epic Ensemble series. This is 10 basses. 10 electric basses to be more specific. Now, if you are familiar with this collection of instruments, you know that we have 10 analog synthesizers, 10 guitars, and now we finally have basses. And I'm so excited about it because the absurdity of 10 electric bassists playing in unison is something that warms my heart and also makes me very, very curious as to what the sonic possibilities are. First, we will take a look at the parts that you get with 10 basses. There are a lot of them, and then we will check out the program section to see the stuff in action, and who knows, we might make something from scratch. So let's dive in. Now, yes, there are a lot of parts. How many, you may ask? 156. 156, that's insane. But to rationalize that a little bit more, we're talking 52 unique parts with 3 mic positions each, close, deca, and wide. But regardless, 156 parts, that is quite a number, so we got no time to waste. As always, everything is labeled super clearly here. You can see that we have lots and lots of effects. We have some short stuff, some short finger, short amp, short muted, and then we get into the slides and sustains, and oh my gosh, the list just keeps going. It's pretty wild, and I feel like a good starting place would be to talk a little bit about why you would want 10 electric basses at once. Because while it sounds overwhelming and possibly unnecessary, it's really one of the coolest layered sounds I think I've ever heard in Soundpaint, which is why I actually want to start with the sustains so that you can get oriented, just to get the sound of this ensemble before we get into the crazy stuff, the effects, everything else. So I'm gonna pull up finger, close, this is sustain, finger, close, mic. Here's what 10 electric bassists sound like playing in unison. Pretty thick, pretty meaty, right? Let's check out a different mic position. Let's hear the deca. And finally, the wide. I feel like the wider the microphone, the further away from the source, you get to really kind of appreciate what all these basses sound like together. Here's finger vibrato deca. It's so satisfying and thick. It's like kind of the same sort of satisfying feeling I feel when I'm detuning oscillators from one another. There's just a little bit of variance, but not too much. It's really just like beef. Let's check out the close mic on the muted part. So sick. I love you can just hear like little differences in where they're attacking the note when they're starting their articulation. It's like a little bit of a roll, right? Drum. Oh, it's so beefy. It's so thick and punchy and just like, it's just bass. It's just a lot of bass. It's epic, of course, epic ensembles. Here's what the picked sounds like. We'll try the deca mic for this one. Love the space this was recorded in. I don't know where it was recorded, but it's just the perfect amount of reverb. Really, really nice. The velocities. You know that is not pitch stretched down. Those are some low Cs. Wow. I want to show off these tremolos. We'll do the close mic for this. It's just nice to have like a little bit of motion if you're doing a sustain like this. It's just a motor. It just keeps going and kind of propelling you forward. I want to hear the wide mic on that. 1 second. Very, very nice. Also just want to point out these vibrato parts because it's a tasteful amount of vibrato. But everybody is vibrating at a slightly different rate. So you're getting that kind of like phasing sound. It's very cool and very natural. It's not a perfect vibrato because, you know, obviously everybody's doing it differently. Oh, but it's so sick. Here's the muted part. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh. That's beautiful. It's lovely. That is a lovely, lovely part. Speaking of lovely parts, let's check out these harmonics. We'll do wide for this one. Let's hear this in the hall, or wherever this was recorded. Oh. I'm admiring a couple things about this. One, the fact that all of them are so in tune with each other. Two, the fact that they are as close as they are in the start of their articulation. What a nice sound. Let's check out these dropped parts. Very curious about these. Oh! Changed my opinion. That's gonna be your double cinema bass kind of sound. Oh yes. Oh, that is the grit. That is all the grit right there. Let's check out the Decca. Oh! Oh! I love me a low B. That is so killer. Oh man, sustained vibrato. I'm guessing this was probably a mic on the amp. You're definitely getting a little more natural distortion. I want to draw your attention to this one, power. Dropped sounds like on the amp. Here's the harmonics. Let's do the wide part for this. Nice and sizzly. Finally, the picked. Fantastic. And then, yes, you have some slides. Here's slide up. Woo! course, you've got some slide down. It's nice because that's about the level of distortion I would probably put on the clean part if I wanted it to be a little more distorted. It's perfectly dialed in. I love it. I love that these amp parts are in this library. It's super useful. All right, let's get slappy. Ah. That's awesome. Very clean. I want to hear the short muted. We'll do the close mics for this just to really hear the essence of the sound. Oh yeah. I love parts that just have like a dialed in amount of grit, a dialed in amount of dirt, but you can also hear the pitches really clearly. You can hear both notes. I love effects without compromising the tonality of the instrument. That is perfect. And you get the idea, then you get into more amp stuff here. It's actually one of my favorites is the amped version of the muted. Rock on! That's great. All right, let's get into these effects because these are wild and super, super fun to play. I'm going to be doing the Decca mics for everything moving forward because it is my personal favorite. We can check out the close mic if we feel we need to, but let's start with these screams. I want to hear what these sound like. This is called Savage Phrases. If you want a little more clean. Woohoo! And they all do have an inherent rhythm to them, so if you can finagle that with your time module, maybe messing with the pitch, you could have that kind of be like a generative motor kind of thing. Or if you just need like someone falling down the stairs, that's also great for that too. Then we've got some rakes, as in raking the strings. It's achieved by kind of deadening the notes with your left hand and kind of rolling on the strings. Very cool for sound designy stuff. You could throw that through a giant reverb, delay, all kinds of processing. And then I love these fret noise. Good old fret noise. Now that we have key switches in Soundpaint, you could theoretically have this on a part in between long sustains, like sustain, switch keys to go to a fret noise. Kind of pick a key that works for whatever timing you're going for and actually add it in between notes. That would be a really, really cool utilization of this part. It's just useful to have that sound from a sound design perspective as well. So that is a very, very, very quick run through of all the parts that you get with 10 basses. As I mentioned, there are 156 of them. Hopefully you've heard enough to know that this is a very badass library with a wide range of sounds. Let's check out a few programs where I have done a few of these myself, and then also Marissa did the main programs. We'll play a couple of those. Sometimes I just talk about the main programs, but let's actually put one in action. In fact, why don't we start with that? Let's just do the sustain main program and see where we can go. This is just the sustain part. And we have a little bit of light EQ, and you can control that EQ via the mod wheel. Also controls the plate reverb, so by default every setting here is kind of maxed out. You can turn it off by moving the mod wheel down. I'm going to kind of set it halfway and just get a little bit of it. But you can also really control the space by kind of fading between the microphones. So let's say that's a little too up front for us. What I would do is I would maybe turn off the close mic, turn on the Decca, maybe give ourselves a little bit of headroom here, and then then slowly start to work up the close mic to a position where I feel like maybe it's gathering some of the clarity that I want, but it's not so in your face. I like that. And then maybe just a little bit of the wide to give just a little bit of a wider stereo image. Sometimes I'll turn off my parts so I know what to listen for. It's a little bit of a quieter part inherently because it's wider mics further away. And there you go. A very well-rounded, nice, full spectrum sound. Bass ensemble. Yeah, that's right. Bass ensemble. Electric bass ensemble. I love it. Mega sustain, because it's a mega sustain. Let it ring. Just let it ring. Woo! Those are 2 amped parts there. Plus a little bit of my own analog distortion assigned to the mod wheel. That is a badass patch. This one's called Punch Me because it's very punch-y. I used a little bit of offset on these parts to really just kind of make it that much more immediate. So one of my favorite things about the library is that, you have this kind of staggered entry from all the different players playing at the same time. But if you don't want that, if you want it to be immediate, just head over to your offset tool and you can put a little bit of offset to just get it to respond immediately. Here's one called Tight and Short Hall because it's tight and short, and it's in a hall. With these programs, I just tried to give you basic, really useful things that you could just quickly go to and just, there's that sound. But enough of my parts, let's make something together because I know you guys love when we get to talk through something and make something from scratch. So let's do that now. Let's create kind of a cinema drop, a cinema style bass. Let's just see if we can make a really, really good growing cinema style bass. For this, we're gonna do the close mic. We might get a Decca in here in a second, but let's keep the close mic going there. I like that a lot. So that's my attack. Now I want a sustaining bass underneath that. So when that attack drops down, there's something still sustaining, but not as grisly and kind of understated. Let's try pick. That's good. I like that. Then I'm almost thinking about taking one of these tremolo parts, maybe the Decca. Oh, I love that. So that first part is that initial punch. The second one is kind of sustaining our bass line, and then we have some disturbance in the force. From the tremolo, and I like that we're using the Decca for the tremolo. It's less literal, it's less in your face. You're not getting da-da-da-da-da. It's a little more spacious and ambiguous. Okay, do we need one more? Let's see. I mean, it could be really cool if we could use a harmonics layer. I don't know how well that's gonna work, but let's... tuned it down an octave. Oh, but there's a slow attack there, so we're going to need our offset tool to kind of get into the meat of that sample. Ooh, I like that. That's kind of giving almost a sub-frequency bass, right? If we take the tone knob and move it down. Let's pair that with our attack. And this is the point at which I pull everything down and just start to slowly mix it in. And then our tremolo, of course. I like that. Then I'm going to give myself some control. You know, it's a bass sound. Let's go with a ladder filter. No resonance. And I'm going to assign that to my mod wheel. I'm also going to assign to my mod wheel is distortion. I'm a big fan of using the distortion on the filter when a filter is present. It's one less module I got to worry about, and it sounds great, and I think just having distortion in the filter is cool. Now, I want to have it be kind of a quick cutoff, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my envelopes here and make sure my release is at 0. Yeah. Keeping the release trigger is okay. It's kind of a cool sound to have the release be at 0 and then have the release. It's like you're kind of pulling the rug from underneath the feet, right? Good trick when you have some kind of suspenseful rise and you're trying to get a quick cutoff and you have release triggers available to you. But if you don't like that, you can of course go through all of them and take them off. Now we're cooking though. This is great. I've been really into plate reverb lately. Specifically, I start with this 80s synth plate. It's a little too long of a trail, but I love the settings here. That's pretty neat. I really like that so far. I know it's simple relatively, but my too much gene might be getting in the way here, but I want to see what adding just analog distortion on top of the distortion that's already in the filter sounds like. That's kind of a cool sound. Like that. Let's tame it a little bit. That's where we'll end up. But you know, let's have a fair amount in there before we get there. Dial it back a touch. That's huge. That's great, right? I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see where we are. that was achieved by just literally holding the sustain pedal and just re-articulating. That way all the voices are kind of stacking up, but that's badass. I mean, that's totally useful. You put some taiko drums behind that and you're good to go. But yeah, there's so much in this library. It is crazy how many sounds you can get out of it. Having 10 individual players all playing electric bass at the same time is gonna give you some really, really interesting articulations while also giving you the role of a bass player. I love these epic ensemble libraries because they're always the what ifs, right? What if I had 10 analog synthesizers and a giant hall and I could sample all the waveforms? What if I had 10 amazing electric guitarists all playing at the same time, 10 amazing electric bass players all playing at the same time? Not the most practical thing, but I'm glad we have it. I'm glad it's in Soundpaint, and I really hope you pick this one up. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time. This is Chimy, signing out. Take care.